It was raining that morning, not the kind of gentle, misting rain that softens the world into a lullaby, but a cold, brutal downpour that struck the earth like punishment. The sky, a leaden sheet of despair, hung low over the cemetery, as if the heavens themselves mourned. I remember the way the mud clung to my heels, how the wind tugged at my black coat, like a desperate child, begging me to stay. But nothing compared to the hollowness gnawing at my chest as I stood before my son's casket. 27 years old, my only child, my Daniel. The priest's voice was muffled under the roar of the storm and the static in my ears. Words meant to console became just noise. People huddled under umbrellas, murmuring condolences, dabbing at eyes. I stood there, motionless, dry-eyed, numb. I hadn't cried since I got the call 2 weeks ago to car accident, fire, no body recoverable. But we had the remains. At least, what they told me were his remains. And then it happened. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was out of place. Rude, even. But I didn't care. I pulled it out with a mechanical motion, planning to turn it off. The screen lit up with a number I didn't recognize. A simple message appeared. I'm alive. Don't trust my wife. For a moment, I thought it was some cruel prank. But my fingers trembled. My throat closed. Because there was one thing no stranger could fake. The contact name changed mid-message. It now read Danny. The same name I'd had saved for my son since he got his first phone at 15. I didn't hear the final prayer. Didn't feel the hands squeezing my shoulder. I just stared at that screen, my heart thundering, my vision swimming. Was my son alive? Daniel was always the clever one. Even as a child, he had a gift for solving puzzles, finding loopholes, connecting dots that others missed. He once told me, when he was 13 and dissecting a broken watch for fun, "Mom, nothing's ever really broken. You just have to look closer." I raised him on my own after his father walked out when Daniel was 3. We were close, closer than most mothers and sons. He told me everything, or so I thought. He met Rachel in college, a bright, beautiful journalism student with sharp eyes and a sharper tongue. I remember the first dinner we had together. She wore red lipstick like a weapon and asked too many questions about our finances. Something about her smile never reached her eyes. Daniel, though, he was smitten, said she challenged him, said she got him. They married 2 years later. At first she was polite, even warm, but after the wedding she grew distant. She kept him busy, kept him quiet. I noticed bruises once. He said it was from rugby, but Daniel never played rugby. Still, he seemed happy on the surface. Or he pretended well. And now he was dead. Except maybe he wasn't. 2, I couldn't act at the funeral. Too many eyes. Too many people. Rachel sobbed against my shoulder during the eulogy. Her mascara smeared across my coat like ink from a poison pen. I held her numb, while the message seared into my mind. After the burial, I pretended to feel faint. Asked my friend Linda to take me home. Inside my car, I stared at the message again. I typed, "If this is really you, prove it." The reply came within seconds. "When I was 6, you bought me the astronaut bedding because I said I wanted to live on the moon. I slept with a flashlight so I could pretend the ceiling was the stars. No one knew that. Not even Rachel." The next week passed in a haze of paranoia and grief. Daniel's text explained little. He said he was in hiding, that it wasn't safe to call, that Rachel had tried to kill him, that she almost succeeded. He sent a photo next, blurry but undeniably him. Scars on his face, thinner, beard growing in. He was in a motel somewhere, but wouldn't say where. "I'll explain everything," he wrote. "But first, I need your help." And just like that, I was back in the world of being Daniel's protector. Only now, the stakes were life and death. Digging into Rachel's life was easier than I thought. People talk, especially in grief. Her friends slipped things unintentionally. Money troubles, late nights, odd calls. One of her coworkers let it slip she had recently upped a life insurance policy on Daniel. By $500,000. Taken out just 3 months before the crash. And then there was the police report. The accident had been ruled suspicious at first. Daniel's brakes had been cut. But Rachel was quick to provide answers. She'd said he'd been depressed, distracted, that he'd been driving recklessly. The case was closed as an accident, but now I saw the cracks. I reached out to Detective Lennox, an old friend of my late brother. He agreed to meet off the record. When I showed him the messages, his face went pale. This is huge, Marion," he said, his voice low. "If this is legit, your son may be the victim of attempted murder, and someone buried the wrong body, or worse, Someone buried the right one, and Daniel was a ghost pulling me into madness. That night, I finally broke down, sitting on the floor of Daniel's childhood room. I clutched the text thread and cried like I hadn't since he was born. Memories flooded in. First steps, scraped knees, prom night, late night talks over cocoa when he couldn't sleep. I wept until I couldn't breathe. What if I was being played? What if I was chasing a shadow? Then another message came. Meet me. 1 hour. Motel 39 off Road 8th. Come alone. The motel was the kind of place where hope went to die. Flickering neon, peeling paint, the smell of stale cigarettes. I parked under a broken light and waited. My hands shook on the wheel. Then he appeared. From the shadows between buildings, a man emerged. Hood up, limping slightly, face half hidden. But I knew that gait. Knew that tilt of the head. My heart nearly stopped. Daniel, he pulled down the hood. My son. Oh, scarred. But alive. We hugged like people drowning. Like we could steal back time. His breath hitched in my ear, and mine in his. For the first time in weeks, I truly felt something. I had to make her think I died, he said. She wouldn't stop until I was gone. He explained everything that night. Rachel had gotten involved in something dark. Money laundering through an online media shell company. When Daniel found out and threatened to report it, she seduced him into silence. Then came the threats, the fake accidents, the gaslighting, until finally she tampered with his car. He'd survived, barely, and with the help of an old friend from college, faked his death. The fire, the remains, the ID, all staged. He watched his own funeral from a live stream. She's dangerous, Mom. She won't stop until the money clears, and I stayed dead. Woot 2, we devised a plan. Subplot 1, Daniel's old friend, Lex, was a cybersecurity expert. He helped gather evidence, emails, phone records, hidden transactions. They hacked into Rachel's cloud account and found files implicating not just her but others involved in the scheme. Subplot 2, Rachel's brother, Chris, a troubled ex-cop, was part of it. He had access, contacts, and debts, big ones. We confronted him, and after a heated, tear-filled conversation in a diner booth, he agreed to wear a wire. He wanted out too. He didn't know Rachel had gone that far. The net began to tighten. The climax came in a warehouse near the docks. Cliché, I know, but real life has a way of echoing fiction. Rachel was meeting a buyer. Money, files, and a new identity were being exchanged. Chris was wired. Lennox and a federal team were listening in. Daniel stayed hidden, watching through a feed from Lex's hacked drone. Rachel laughed during the meet. He's gone, she said. Dead as dust. That idiot had no idea what I was capable of. That's when Lennox gave the order. She was arrested before the echo of her words faded. The resolution came slowly. It took months to clear Daniel's name. Even longer to legally resurrect him. The insurance money was returned. Rachel and Chris went to prison. The web of criminality unraveled, but not before more lives were ruined. Daniel stayed hidden for a while. Trauma doesn't vanish with justice. But he's home now. He started teaching again. Robotics at a local community college. He laughs more. Hugs longer. We drink cocoa at night just like before. He has a scar on his left temple that still aches when it rains. As for me, I learned grief isn't always honest. Sometimes, it's a placeholder for truth. Sometimes the dead come back not just to reclaim their lives, but to teach you how to live yours again. 2. The lesson. Listen to your instincts. Love deeply. Question the surface. And never, ever underestimate the strength of a mother's love. Because when the world tried to bury my son, he sent me a text. And I dug until I found the truth.